Okay, it is
You guys have
6:35.
to share my, or you know what? I was gonna go get a mic from over there.
Oh, so this one's out.
We can sing it.
I can't sing.
It is 6:35, I call to order the meeting of the Monee Village Police Commission for September the 3rd. All stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tresbeck,
Here.
Pearson.
Present.
Time open for the public, if there's any public who would like to speak. Takers. At this point in time, I'd like to thank Mickey Bradley for the service she's given to the commission. I appreciate what you've done, we appreciate as a commission what you've done and helped us get this organized. Thank you very much, and Godspeed, and good luck with the sale and rebuy of housing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This brings us now to the introduction of a new police commission member, that would be John Johnson. And John, if you would come forward, please, we need to have you sworn in. Which will be done by Brian Cobb.
Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Police Commission according to the best of your ability? Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You have minutes to approve. The only item that I noticed would be the correction of Catherine Ortega's first spelling of the first name, her first name. This is under the old business communications from Standard and Associates. The correct spelling of Catherine's name is Kathryn. If you have a chance to read the minutes, I will look for a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Pearson,
Yes.
Tresbeck,
Yes.
Johnson,
You have a report of any kind? Okay. Brian, the attorney's report.
No report.
On old business, you have in your packet the new dates for the Illinois Police Commission seminar. Those dates are November 7th, 8th, and 9th, which I believe is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What I'd like for you to do, if you would, to take a look at those dates and those items that will be seminars. And rather than try to make a decision, Mike, it's very tough. If you could email me those forums you would like to attend and the times, and then I will see if we can get a check sent to the commission for those times. Questions or comments concerning it? Oh, John, I want to take a minute. Do you have an email address?
I do.
Okay, and it is
BZLYT BEER. ER.
BZLYTB.
EER
Okay, I want to make sure that was right.
@gmail.com.
So,
I may.
Yes.
We'll give him an official village one as well. We'll give him a village one as well, just like we did for,
Okay. You have paperwork for John to sign, and yeah, okay, fine. Okay, under new business, it was mentioned that we have a secretary's position vacant. I would nominate John Johnson for the office of secretary.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Johnson?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Truesdale?
Yes. Question for the chief. How many police officers are we gonna be testing for?
Two.
And you all have in your packets the candidates' application forms that were sent to us by Standard. I think the chief has some questions, and the attorney has some questions, I have some questions concerning the applications. Mine are very basic. I believe the starting salary is $42,894.71.
That's it?
Okay, we have a population in our community of 5,100. Is that the official? I think that's the official number. 5,160. Okay.
What's the correct salary again? 42,000?
42,894.71. Pardon? Right to the penny.
What did you, I'm sorry, what did you say the population is?
5,160. Number of full-time officers is,
Two.
no, full-time, on the payroll now.
Is that something?
That's something that they're asking for in
They want to know how big we are right now?
yeah,
Really?
they're asking for the number of full-time, so police officers, we determine as full-time, 12?
Is that something we would want to submit, Chief?
I assume they wanted to know how many we wanted to hire, but it's 12 of us.
And part-time, is that included in?
No, 3 more for that, 15 on the end.
Okay, following on down, under the following documents must be included in your application, we're asking for a power card and what's the oldest they should be, chief?
35.
No, I mean the age, how long?
Oh,
What's
how
the age of
long
the
for
power?
power card?
Yeah.
They usually have their own expiration date set, so it would be whatever's on it.
Okay, but I think what they're saying
Normally, it's not more
is,
than like 6 months. Some of them may be guaranteed for up to a year, but that's that person swearing to you in an application that he's fit.
do you have a preference as to what,
I
how
do
old that
not.
card is?
I do not.
So it could be a
Because they're
year?
gonna test them at the academy again anyway. Power card or not, they'll test them again.
But it could be a year. So we don't want to put some of the parameter on it, I believe. If they're 4 years old, we would say that's not applicable.
No.
9 years old.
You could back that in from the date of the application.
Yes. And that will be determined once we start the testing.
See, while we're on that page,
Yes.
following documents must be included with your application. There's no mention of, it talks about the military service record. Does that include discharge papers? Because our rules require that those be provided.
The Form DD 214 would be the discharge paperwork, is that what you're asking?
Well, is that the discharge papers, or is that the release to obtain the military service record? That's what I didn't know what that form was.
Yeah, no, the DD 214 is your military discharge paperwork.
So we want that to say at the end.
the military service record and/or, technically, there is a different form, I forget what it's called, for us to apply for it. So are you saying to have that completed?
No, I just want to make sure we get their discharge papers.
Yeah.
Our rules require that all applicants are to provide with their application a copy of the military service record, comma, discharge papers, comma, social security card, et cetera. So I just think that or should be taken out. I didn't know that the form DD 214 was discharge papers.
Correct. All right, yes, okay, I see what you're saying. Eliminate. Yeah, because a DD 214 will not have a complete military jacket, it's more of a summary, so yes.
So what was?
Removing the or, the slash and the or.
Here, see.
Yeah, right.
The slash.
The DD 214 will have, say if there was some type of disciplinary action,
Okay.
it will stipulate, but it will not be detailed.
Thank you. Anything else on that page? We need to determine at some point in time when we're gonna begin the testing.
How long does it take them to process after this deadline?
The information here, after the ad, test should be a minimum of 30 days after the ad.
Minimum. Looking at November 15th? Because again,
You have to
they're
run-
doing,
First of all, we have to develop the ad, and then get that run in the, is it called the blue book?
The blue line.
Blue line?
are you also using police one by chance, or just doing one?
The blue line is actually advertised through police one too. It's the same principle.
And then also the local newspaper.
I pretty much figured the article would be that,
Right.
so,
Well, the article will be the fact that they are,
except,
will be testing, and then they would send the ask for the application, which is what you have in your hand.
I'm sorry, so are you talking about the posting in the newspaper for the application or the posting for when testing begins?
Well,
Technically, we don't have to post when test will begin because only those who have applied through the application will receive that information from Stenard via mail or email or however they will be notifying the applicants. No, putting out the actual test date when the actual exam is, I don't think is a requirement. I'm under the impression that this October 15th is the deadline for this packet that
That's true.
the applicants will be requesting.
The examination dates are required under our rules to be published.
To be published.
Section 1 of chapter 3. It's on page 9.
the chief, I'm gonna ask for your one, is that, once we establish the date to run the ad, and is 30 days a sufficient amount of time thereafter to begin the testing?
The only thing that they're requiring you to do is to give them a date to put the ad in the paper,
Right.
and a date for your next orientation, and then if our rules require us to put a test date in, realistically, we need to have that because it's the same time, so. But, essentially, that second page says clear your calendar, make sure you're available for the following date,
Right.
so.
And it contemplates orientation and testing the same day.
Usually orientation is separate from testing, but you can do that any way you want to do it. The orientation is, this is how much, orientation is essentially going back over the ad and explaining all of it and, telling them the shifts are, that kind of stuff, and what the academy is, and past that, when we did this before, we did 30 and 30. We did an orientation, gave them 30 days to understand that they're gonna be tested with this exam to get whatever books they wanted to study, and
Oh, really? I thought the orientation was just prior to the testing,
you can do it the same day,
which is better.
doesn't matter. They're all the same. They're absolutely all the
Because
same.
I envision the meeting beginning, there'd be an orientation from you, if you will, because who knows better what's happening than you. And then begin with the written test.
We can absolutely do that. You just, now need to pick a date for it, that's all.
What's been your experience in the past with this?
Pretty much the same, you know, orientation is, well, it's either followed by a physical fitness test or a written exam, depending on, you know, which department being fit to try to eliminate the numbers. So it's usually done on the same day. Therefore, it's usually because of a speed issue, you know, a time issue. If we schedule an orientation now to post it in the newspaper, at least 3 to 5 days in the newspaper, you know, for the next orientation. And if we don't get the article in enough time from the orientation to the test date, then now you're pushing it, you know, that much further into the future. So I suggest that, you know, that we do the orientation and the written exam the same day.
Right, okay. But what kind of a time do we need from the time that we publish the ad?
At least 30 days. Give people at least 30 days to answer it.
Okay,
At this point, if we're looking at October 15th, say if we're going for this date of October 15th, 30 days after that, November 15th, next class, what, February started?
There's classes up at DuPage like about every 12 weeks. So they have some in January to start, or we can start. If we do get through this entire process, I would envision, hiring somebody January 1st to get them onto a class.
Oh, really? Okay. So background and psychological?
Sure. Because we're only gonna do the top 2 candidates unless we eliminate one through a background or whatever. I can move right along. I was ready to start paying people in October.
Okay, works for me.
I'm sorry we weren't ready in time.
That's okay. Not a problem.
30 days.
I just got a dirty look from the audience.
I ran some notes here, I made it in. Just an hour, of course, we'll conduct the written and oral testing. The oral testing will be 1 week later than the written test. Because it would be too much to try to force it to get it all done in one day, the written and oral.
Really? Orientation, you know.
I'm talking the
I
testing.
wouldn't jump to the gun on the oral because you need to be able to get the test results back.
Right, right.
And then those people will need to be notified that they're, become available for an oral. So you need a little bit of leeway.
Is a week, that's what I'm asking, is a week enough time for them?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I really don't, because they may not process everything out for you in a week.
Correct.
You're talking about getting a test to them, that could take 2 days certified mail, priority mail or whatever, you're gonna get the same thing back in return, so you've got 4 days just mailing. And that only allows them 1 day to grade, and I don't think they said that they could do that, if I remember.
Well, that's what Catherine said, oral was to be a week later.
Yeah, I would imagine
A week
that you'd
after.
want to set it at least 2 weeks after,
Yeah.
just to be safe.
And that, you know, enough time for us to review it with them.
Because they're gonna give you a number.
Yes.
They're gonna give you number 1 through whatever. These people passed, these people didn't.
Yes.
Here's the people you're gonna interview all of them anyway. But that doesn't mean if we've interviewed them all, if we see them all as suitable, that we have to do backgrounds past 1 and 2. We can do 1 and 2, and if their background is good, then we can, not do the rest of them until the time comes.
According to the standard, they will disqualify those people who just didn't pass the written test.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
10 days, 10 business days, yeah.
I'm sorry.
10 business days, that would be good.
Yeah, as long as Stenar can do it, I'm all about it.
2 weeks? I'm sorry.
10 days. 10, 14.
Talk about the oral after the written.
Correct.
Okay, we're gonna try to get the testing done on Saturday, which would mean then 2 weeks later would be the following Saturday. We try to keep the testing on Saturday, I believe.
Even the oral, the testing is one day, but the orals, so you're even going to conduct oral interviews on Saturday?
Yes. Is there a problem with that? This is,
It's fine. Yeah, it's whatever you folks want to do. I mean, you know, you folks are gonna be the ones that are gonna get the training from the company to do the oral. You know, if you want me there, I'll happily sit there and, you know, ask questions with you, but, you know, we're gonna have a list of questions that are standardized for everybody, so those things will move relatively quickly. You know, normally, a very scheduled interview with 10 questions is about 20 minutes, and you're moving on to the next person, so you can, you know, depending on how long you want to do during the day, you know, 3 an hour, so, you know, 10 hours is a long day for 30 people, if you get to that. So do you want to interview everybody on one day, or do you want to schedule it over a 2-day period, or,
less, because it'd be predicated on the number of applicants that we have.
well, you can specify, rules, but would it specify that we had to interview everybody? No.
No.
Top 10 candidates, then.
I don't believe so. I believe that can be determined by the commission. I'll double check.
Remember, we were looking at that top tier, the top 10 or 15% we were talking about, because the standard we look at is
Right,
70%.
and if you do top 10, and you allow 20 minutes for each one, you're talking about a 4-hour day, which is not bad. Just trust me, I want to get up and walk around a little bit, do whatever, you're not gonna wanna sit through one interview after another. You know, I've done enough assessment centers for the police departments that, you know, you go through a candidate or two and, you know, take 5 for a cup of coffee, and then call the next ones in, because it's just, you'll start to blend people's answers together. You know, you need to get one candidate graded out and move to the next one.
In answer to your question, the rules require that the board shall select a number of candidates, the number to be determined at the discretion of the board, and announced at orientation from the top of the initial eligibility list who shall be required to submit to an oral interview to be conducted by the board. So at least then you'll have an idea of how many people have applied. Stenard may be able to give you an indication as to what their average percentage is for people who pass the written exam. So you'll have a ballpark number of how many you're going to pass, and then you can decide and announce at orientation how many you're going to interview.
Well, it used to be cheap, between 25 and 30% of that written.
It depends on the model that you're using, but yeah, it's a very easy 30% that people fail.
Oh, is that right?
And higher the score, the greater the failure rate.
So then we can adjust the percentage of even just applications that are submitted. We're actually talking about how many people actually show up. You may get 50 applications submitted, but you may only get 25 people show up on the date. So we can take a percentage of that 25 that show up and say, so we're back at that 10.
They're saying too that the written test should take approximately 90 minutes to 2 hours, is what they're saying. Is that right?
It's a relatively short proctor to me.
As far as personnel from us that are needed for the testing, Stenard will provide 1 to 2 people, and we're going to provide 1 to 2 people. The only thing we really need to provide for the candidates would be water. Stenard will provide pens, pencils, paper, all So, we need to establish a date for the ad.
Which ads?
It's placing the ad in the papers, getting to notify that we are open for candidates, we're looking for candidates.
We're gonna start accepting applications, or applications are to be in by October 15th, probably 1 3 days, right?
15, 20, I guess maybe 30, 35 max. You know, because the thing of it is, you want to give enough time for them to gather the information, but you don't want to overextend it so that you have procrastinators that come along, because if they're procrastinating with submitting paperwork and submitting an application, then they're pretty much telling you the character after that.
If the commission would permit, I'll be happy to work with Standard as far as developing, getting the ad developed, placed, and then based on that, determine what we're gonna test.
So then, what's this deadline, October 15th is probably on the top of this? Would be, was that just an example?
That was a fictional date, yeah.
Okay, all right. I thought that was the date we were shooting for, so.
Well, if you're gonna shoot for October 15th is the date to start the advertising in November.
Yes.
No, check for. October 15th is a Wednesday, and so, and if you shot for the close on the 15th, that's a Saturday in November. So,
But now you're losing 30 days, literally. Is that still enough time for your January class, as you indicated, Chief?
well, there's gonna be one every, relative to about every 12 weeks anyway. So we'll find a class to get them into, but I mean, I would think you'd want to at least advertise for 30 days to try and draw the candidates, you know, because we're not at the top of the pay heap, and realistically speaking, you know, we need to allow them some time for us to get enough candidates out there.
How many times do you recommend that we run the ad?
Well, once you put the ad on the blue line, it's continuous.
Is it?
Yeah, but if you put the ad in the local paper, I would suggest, you know, at least October 15th, and then 2 weeks again, at least one more time in the local paper, so that we can at least say that we adequately advertised. All we have to do is change the ad from the first one to the second one. You wouldn't even have to change it, it would just say, but due by,
Yeah.
November 15th.
Right.
How long after the application deadline are you going to then do the written exam? I think you said you were looking at 2 weeks, is that correct? Or no, you were looking at oral exam 2 weeks, is that correct? There's 2 weeks after your application deadline of November 15th is a Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
So,
So then we have to end up choosing a date, the first Saturday in December.
That would be the 6th.
So that
if
would be.
that's the written exam 2 weeks later, then you're getting right into
Into
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, they want a job, they gotta come in.
Pardon?
I've got no issue with that. But then it's the scheduling of all the other stuff.
All right, I got you.
In order to get them to the academies, you want to get them in January.
Oh, that's no problem. So, if you tell me we got 2 people to hire, I'll get them in.
Here's
I
a
hook it by
question.
crook.
I'm just more worried about the psychological testing and scheduling on Christmas.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Right, that's what I said, right, we gotta do
Yeah.
that. Well, then that's gonna be another 2 weeks off
So
to do that.
I'd suggest you move your timeline. Don't push it back.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I mean, we're only talking about putting an ad in. Outside of a couple of changes that we made right here on this front page, I didn't see anything else that needed to be adjusted unless there is. If not, you can pretty much run this as your original application, advertising in your local newspaper. So, I mean, fine. We go 30 days, what do we need to get an ad in the local newspaper?
Day before,
The day before?
as long as it's not a weekend.
Okay, so come Monday, the 8th, we could literally have an ad ready to jump into the newspaper 30 days out from September 8th. We're still well within this October 15th deadline for applications to be submitted by.
Is Catherine gonna give you the print copy of the code?
Yes, yes.
As soon as she gives it to you, you can put it on paper.
I mean, was there anything more detailed you're looking to have in this ad,
No,
Mr. President?
Give it to
it will just be an announcement. We're looking for candidates and.
you.
To go to their website and
Correct,
submit
right.
applications?
That's where they're gonna fill out the applications on the website.
Correct. And
Deadline is,
October 15th.
is that our deadline?
I believe it's a pretty fair deadline. We're looking at 40 days. No? Is that enough time for people to look over that, you think, Chief, 40 days?
I mean, my only concern would be to have, it, you know, in there, if we're gonna do the testing on the 15th, we need to have it in there like soon, just so we can get people out there. And then, yeah, I don't think it's, just as long as we have 30, 5 days, something like that. This last time, my experience was is that Blue Line got us more applicants than the local paper. The local paper got us, you know, I don't know, but let's put it this way, it would have been maybe one. But I don't think it's fair for us not to advertise in the local paper. I
think we have to.
We should do that just by, you know, matter of course, so that people locally can see it there, you know, because there are people on jobs too, so.
Agreed. Okay, October 18th, that will be the third Saturday in October. It's 3 additional days from now.
That's deadline for the applications, right?
Yeah, I would say. And that would also, not just the application, but also the written exam.
That's the test, that
Orientation.
would be the testing.
Correct. Orientation first, 15, 20 minutes, and followed by the written exam. How does that look to your schedule?
On October 18th, you can do it?
3 days after the deadline?
When's the application deadline?
Yeah, what is the date?
I'm sorry.
Because there has to, and the only reason I asked you is there has to
No, you're right.
be, there has to be notice given to the people whose applications have been accepted, because some are gonna be rejected if they don't provide everything.
Right.
So there's gotta be some notification period in there.
You're right. Wrong terminology. You're right.
Okay.
I'm saying application, not the testing, not the orientation, just the application deadline, October 18th. So we keep everything on the Saturday rotation. Therefore, we know deadline for the applications to be submitted is October 18th. And then 2 weeks after that gives you the November 1st to have the orientation and the written exam. That's 2 weeks after the official application deadline. And then 2 weeks after that, if we schedule, will be just before Thanksgiving. Therefore, if anybody had plans for Thanksgiving, they can still make their Thanksgiving plans, unless you got something else to do. Chief?
I'm good. Timeline's good for me.
So the November 1st day will be the orientation and the oral testing?
Written.
Written test.
Written.
I would recommend that you confirm with Stenard that they have the ability to close applications on a Saturday. I mean, I know it's all being submitted online, but I don't know what they have to do to close off that process.
Okay.
So that's the only caveat I would say to having a Saturday deadline.
And the oral
If
test
they're
is
capable
2
of
weeks
doing it, great. If not, maybe make it, if they can't do it on Saturday, I'd say just make it the 17th, check the day before.
Yeah, to 15th is
Hey, my stuff, I say, cut off on this date in my database, it's done. You don't see it after that.
I assume so.
Yeah. Anything like that.
So if mine made my notes correctly, we're talking about the deadline of the 18th of October.
Application day.
From applications, testing, they've written testing on November the 1st, oral testing November the 15th.
Correct.
We'll see if we can put together quickly. Anything else concerning the application? Give us some comments.
Well, the only question I have is, in many spots throughout the application, you reference, for example, hardship will be considered on a case-by-case basis by the Monee Police Department. I mean, I don't think the police department's gonna consider the hardship part, I think this commission is.
Commission, correct.
So that should be cheap. The pages I have aren't numbered, but it's about 6 or 7 pages in, where in the top left corner it says payment. I would just recommend changing the police department to, the Monee, and I think technically it would require a police commission, but we can make it a Monee Police Commission.
Okay.
And there was one other, give me 1 second. And it's about 5 pages from the end, release of liabilities, background investigation. This one is, I take it back to arson. It's got a little 16 in the lower left-hand corner, I don't know what that means. It says 16 application.
I thought those were the pages originally.
I know, but it was from at 12, so. But anyway, what I would recommend is wherever they say Monee Police Department, it should say also Monee Police Commission, or Monee Fire and Police Commission. I would add that to cover both entities.
At certain spots in the application, it already says Monee Fire and Police Commission, so there's just typos, I think, is,
Could be.
that's probably.
And there was one,
So the verbiage should be in Monee 45 days.
yeah, on that page where I would just include and Monee Fire and Police Commission, or Monee Police Commission, in addition to Monee Police Department. But there's, the third line from the bottom of that first paragraph, it says, "In verifying my employment with the Monee Police Department." I mean, I assume that didn't make any sense with me, or make any sense to me, so I don't know if that's some sort of typo that needs to be raised with Stenard or standard down. Do you see that?
You said the third line from the top paragraph?
First line from the bottom of the first full paragraph. You know, the big paragraph there?
Yes.
3 lines up toward the end.
I waive.
Protection of such information for the limited purposes of investigating and verifying my employment with Monee Police Department. I'm not sure what it's supposed to say, but it didn't sound right, because I'm assuming that none of these applicants are currently employed by the Monee
Right.
Police Department. Maybe there is somebody who's in clerical who might apply for this, but we wouldn't make it that specific.
How about just a period after employment? Eliminate the word police department.
That may be the answer. I'm just saying, I think you should raise that with Stenard, and figure out what that should be. And then I have 2 other comments based on reviewing the questions in relation to the statutes. I don't know what page this is. I think it's the beginning of the additional open-ended questions. So you got a 9 in the lower left-hand corner, and then there's a 10, and then it goes to an 11 application.
10, 11.
Yeah.
11A?
Well, it's 11 application, I see. It's 11A. It says additional open-ended questions in the top left.
Okay?
Under section 10, I'm saying slow, so you can write this down. It says, under, no, stay on that page. Okay, under section 10-2.1-6I of the act that establishes this board and its duties. You are not to hire anybody who's been classified as a conscientious objector by their local selected service draft board. That question is not asked. I think the question should be asked, have you ever been classified as a conscientious objector by your local selected service draft?
That would be item 13, then, correct?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it'd be
Question
question
13?
Item 13?
Well, it would be 13, we should ask.
You can add it wherever you want, I'm just saying it's missing.
Right.
I gave you the section of the code where you can find it, the section of the statute is what I was referring to, the Fire and Police Commission Act.
Section 10,
It was section 10-2.1-6, and then parentheses, it's a small letter I.
That's the Illinois Police Commission.
That's the, I'll give you the exact wording, it's the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners Act.
Section 10, 2.1-6.
Small letter I. And I can,
Please.
and then the only other comment I have is under eligibility questions, which in the lower left-hand corner, it starts with, the first page has 13 application on it.
Other questions?
Right, and question number 6, there are a couple of age exemptions under that portion of the statute. I would just, do you meet any of the age exemptions? There's more than one. So, again, that's maybe getting a little nitpicky.
so which one are you?
Number 6,
Right.
if you answered no to the previous question, do you meet any of the age exemptions? Is how I would change it. Per the ILCS, 65 ILCS 5/10.
Oh, just meaning any, okay,
Yeah, I would say any of the age exemptions. It's just
not the any.
correct.
All right.
And that site there, that they have at the end of that, if you just put parentheses, small letter I, that's the previous provision I was telling you. So,
Here's a question, since that's an eligibility question, should that question be on this page and not in the additional questions that starting on that page 11?
I think this should be part of your application. I don't think it matters where it's in the application.
Because the open-ended question versus an eligibility question, that's an eligibility concern that you raised.
It's listed as number 6 under eligibility.
I mean, I guess I'm not following your question.
Your conscientious observer question.
Oh,
Because that's an eligibility question, should it be there instead of the additional one? Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. I mean, if you want to leave it there, I don't see any problem with that. I put it in, I suggested putting it where it was because that's where they had other similar questions.
Military, civil exam.
Terminated from, I mean, yeah, you're probably right. It probably does fall more under an eligibility question than these other
This
questions.
page of eligibility has that question as 5 and then 6 is the problem. That's what we're talking about, right?
Well, no, what George is going back to the question I raised before, the
Oh, I
conscientious
see.
objector.
Gotcha.
You can throw that under the eligibility. It probably would be more appropriate under eligibility. Because if they answer it yes, they're out of consideration under the statute. So, yeah.
Back to the additional amendment questions, number 12 is have you ever served in the United States military? Shouldn't that read it, have you ever served or are you currently serving? Because there could be reservists or,
United States should be capitalized too.
absolutely. And then
And actually,
maybe number 2 should be moved under there, asking if you were honorably or dishonorably discharged? Or what type of discharge did you receive?
you know, type does make a difference. We have honorable.
I mean, I know we're asking it, but kind of, it's like putting the cart before the horse on this question.
It's probably the paragraph, everything should flow.
Right?
Good point.
I mean, unless you're looking at not keeping things out of order, it's
To catch.
to catch an answer, not to trick anybody, but to catch something.
Inconsistencies.
Right.
I would like to see 12 change to or currently serving, you know, because that's another consideration in scheduling that will have to be taken into consideration. If they're still currently serving, they're required to give up that 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the year. And that becomes a scheduling concern for the police department. And if you accept them and they're currently serving, then you're granting them, you know, that permission. And again, to not hire someone because of that, you fall into some tricky situations also. But we
I
should
would
at
not
least.
recommend
Huh?
that. I would not recommend.
Yeah, exactly. But it would be nice to know ahead of time if the person that we're looking at in this, you know, if they're looking at serving in the reserve for the next 15, 20 years, you know, what we, you know, it's an additional issue. You know, it's a overtime, it will create overtime on that every other weekend, 1 weekend a month if they're not scheduled to work. That 2 weeks out of the year, it will create, because we can't force them to use their vacation time for that time period. So that will generate overtime to cover their shift if they were actually working those 2 weeks. If they get deployed, you know, you can't hire.
The good thing about this is once we've hired these 2 people, if somebody does wind up having to go and deploy, that shift will be short like it is right now, but not to the point where we have to supply, supplant it. When it becomes short to where we need overtime to cover it is when we're down to the 1 person. So one of the great advantages to this, even though I'm not getting any more dirty looks from the mayor, is that once we have those 3 people per shift established, we meet our minimum of 2 criteria, even if somebody calls off, even if somebody's on vacation, even if somebody winds up going to do their reserve time or whatever. Like I said, our real problem becomes when somebody's already off and then another person calls off, and that's when we start generating overtime, which is the predicament we're in now. So, hopefully, once we get the 2 people hired, a lot of that will get solved, which would be wonderful.
Well, this nobody can say you never asked me that question, so they can't, they won't assume that, oh, it's okay, or we'd be very firm with them as a result of this question.
My question is, concern, it says, are you currently serving in any branch of the United States Army? How does this affect the application date?
Well, say
I mean,
this
just talking
weekend,
about it, but-
we're doing it on Saturdays, we're doing this testing on Saturdays currently, right now. Say one of the weekends that he's supposed to serve on is doing the orientation. If we ask them the questions now, it gives them something to think about while they're applying, so that they can start letting us know ahead of time, the orientation date, I'm actually serving that weekend, can I get a waiver to move the date for my orientation if I make the list? It's just, if the question is not being asked, and then they submit, I guess I'm just looking at, maybe as John, you live in a lawsuit happy, environment. And anything nowadays, I mean, we've got a federal case right now, because of, age and, with physical fitness. And it's just, adding those couple of little words in there, to me, it's literally 3 words, or are you current? It's just, you wanna know, and you should know, if the person is actually still serving.
You get all of these suggestions and corrections, email back to us.
Sure.
Okay. I haven't been able to keep up, I'm sorry.
So that's question number 12, under the,
I got that.
okay, speaking to Brian, making sure since it wasn't certain.
I did not get that one, I apologize. That would be
Page 12.
question 12.
Question 12. Are you currently serving in any branch of the
Have you
United
ever, or are you currently serving?
Now, do we repeat these questions? Because if you go from where we were forward 4 pages, we have some of the same ones. Again. So maybe it's 5 pages forward.
5 pages prior to this, John? You say 5 pages prior to this?
From where I was at, I went 4 pages forward. And then these questions started over again,
You're correct, they do.
but they have a different heading or footer at the bottom.
They do from 11 to 12.
And then the second page of them ends
The
differently.
questions are exactly the same. So were they,
They just
the
make.
pages that start with 11 on them, and the pages that start with 12 on them, they're exactly the same questions.
Right there. So they're just duplicate.
Was that an accident, or will it be, are they trying to check for inconsistency?
I'm assuming it was an accident.
And there's a possibility that something's missing if it's titled from 11 to 12. But that's a question we need to find out also, see if you would. Good catch. Great catch.
Anything else, John? Brian?
Thank you.
New business point 9 says, do we need to schedule Catherine for the October meeting? You comfortable with that?
That's fine.
Or do we need to?
Unless she's coming to give us honestly, we wouldn't even have any details, back from Sonora. She could tell us, the only thing she could really tell us, well, we've received 10 applications so far, how many applications have been submitted. But
Your biggest meeting with her is gonna be the actual training for the oral. That you really need to set some time aside.
well, off to November.
Because as a matter of history for me, it's just when you're doing an assessment or you're doing an interview like that, you really have to stay on the question and really take it to heart to not jump off the question and ask a secondary question. Because if you do, you better write that one down, and every person that you interview after that, you better ask the same question. And then you hope that Brian doesn't go, dude, not legal. So, it's imperative that, that's followed with everybody. Which, I'm sure Catherine will go over all that, And trust me, after all the promotional exams I've, done assessment centers for, it's like the last thing I want to do is get, named in a federal law lawsuit because somebody said, you didn't ask me that question. Because they will. Fortunately, Brian didn't sue me because he's here, so.
It asks in the pamphlet or the application, if they have a FOIA card, but it doesn't ask for a copy.
We don't necessarily, I take that back. With the FOIA, card, it used to be, and you correct me now if anything's changed, especially with carry and concealing out here in Illinois. Law enforcement officer did not have to.
Have to.
They have to.
They have to have a FOIA card.
Okay.
So the personal documents, do we want them to submit that as well?
Yeah, it's one of the ones they ask for, I believe.
Actually, it just asks, it doesn't ask for a copy of it.
Right, I don't see it asking for a copy here.
They ask for the FOIA card number in the application. They do not request a copy of it. Because wherever that question was asked, they asked for the number. I saw
Okay,
that.
okay.
I don't know, do you need more? Do you need a copy of the card?
Number, name, date of birth, we can check on that.
Then do we want to pass, if they have a passport, do we want a copy of it?
It's not essential to us, because we're not checking essentially with the State Department. We're checking with FBI, we're checking with state police, we're checking with local law enforcement in the area, and we're checking with their, where they're living at the time, and, you know, the law enforcement agency, that's where they are, and that kind of thing. The passports usually, you know, we're talking about dealing with the State Department, and generally they're never very cooperative.
Okay.
It would show dual citizenship though.
I'm sorry?
It would show dual citizenship though.
Good.
Brian?
They've got citizenship here. I think that makes them qualify.
Okay.
We're gonna try not to hire anybody that's on the Al-Qaeda list. We're currently working for ISIS.
That can be one of the interview
If
questions.
that's the military service, we won't count that one.
That's sufficient.
Yes. Yeah, because an out-of-state person is not gonna be required to have, so they're the Indian driver's license is what's required.
Anything else? John, anything more?
Oh, location for the test? What do you-
Preferably the park,
Park building?
yeah.
Do we think that would be large enough? If, say we get 25 people or 50 people, or I don't know what the capacity is. We'll be able to see.
The only situation I see would be that the tables that are round, there isn't sufficient space in the police department, is there, for a large group?
I can do 35, but 2 people have to sit at the table, and we can move tables a distance apart so proctors can walk between them. You know, it's big enough to do that. But, and last time we tested, we didn't have the capacity for that. So, you know, if we do it at the park building, instead of having 8 to a table, realistically 4 to a table is probably what you're talking about. I don't know how many tables they have, but that probably puts it at about 40, maybe 50 in there. Either way.
That was the other question, the test booklet that they'll be issuing, are there different copies of it? You know, some, I've noticed some departments, therefore, if you do have that seating scenario, I might be reading from, you know, Form J, and the person next to me is Form B.
Normally, they'll have probably 4 different pamphlets, and they won't put the same 2 at the same table. It'll be pretty difficult to, if you were gonna try to cheat, it would be pretty difficult to do that. And if you did do that, and if the proctor's doing their job, it's one tap on the shoulder and you're out. There's no, the proctor's there for that reason, so that there's no cheating. And standard, they're not gonna tolerate it, they're proctor, you're done. Have a good day. was me, I would be eyes on my stuff, period.
They don't cut people like you from the same cloth anymore, chief.
Yeah, I know, I'm kind of a one-of-a-kind guy.
That's why I thought the park building would be a good place. It's isolated, it's not a big traffic area at all.
And, I mean, just from your previous testing, you believe that was
Yeah, that's fine.
sufficient?
Realistically speaking, you know, if we get more candidates than we have room for, we can always talk to the school and see if we can, you know, go into their cafeteria and get the table set down or whatever. I mean, no, I'm sure, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure. I would hope that we would have a good enough working relationship that way that we could get that if we needed to. But we'll know how many people are gonna test beforehand. So.
Okay.
In the check-ins there, you just walk.
So what was it?
The check-in would be there, that if you need to move somewhere else, you can just walk them from the building.
Anything else, anyone? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is where we're at on the agenda.
There's no executive session. I don't like to go.
No.
So now it's appropriate for a motion to adjourn, okay?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Trustback,
Yes.
Johnson,
Here.
Pierce.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We can do it right now.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'll be, just take out this last.
Thanks for taking the time. Yeah, appreciate it, we really do.
Otherwise, I'm off on Friday.
Okay.
I think you can fill in these dates.
So, can you swing by here?
I'll come here
It
first.
was a very hard decision
And I'll
to.
do the application must be submitted by, you were looking at October. Okay, thank you.
October 18th.
Seeing we
You
can
know,
avoid
it's just,
that,
you know,
it's not an option for us.
Here,
When's this promotion I get? We were, yeah, I mean.
Especially with Marty and the job. You're doing a job for fun.
Yeah, you do, so.
And that, he had a harder job, and then they outsourced it to somebody else.
And
So
then,
it's gonna give you.
offering it for,
They'll have to set you up.
Bell Power Card, I wanted to issue no earlier than I would say, either October.
I've had it for so long that I don't want to
That
switch.
you don't wanna get rid of it.
He wasn't spotted for the railroad for a while.
Really?
Jail,
You might
yeah,
want to
that.
go
That's
back
just
Yeah.
email.
That job only lasted about a year, but that was a good job. That was good money.
Yes.
He had a lot of overtime. The bad thing is he
You're
was
talking
on
difference
call
of 2 weeks.
24/7.
It's just a meeting.
Okay, and it's a 2018.
Good one.
And it was in Northlake, so when he got a call, he had to be there in 2 hours. So you got an hour, 15 minutes to get there, so he had,
So we got dates here.
you know, if he was sleeping, he had 45 minutes.
Check-in, that would be November 1, that's 2014.
Yeah.
Getting off on the rock, interchange right there.
I like this text though, that job.
Did it pay for the gas?
Well, and then
And then
the
job
iPad
description,
was.
assuming you
Yes.
I asked the chief, he said, is that video still going?
Yeah, in fact, now that you mentioned it,